don't see that in the Bible. I don't see that idea of you and I rising up out of the ashes. I don't see it in Scripture. We're saved from death to life. I get that. We are resurrected. We're a new life. I understand about being born again. All of those are biblical terms. When you step out of the Bible and stop using biblical terms, you get yourself in trouble every time, because now you're open to a double meaning. Whereas if you're looking at the Scripture, it just means what it says. But you open yourself up to a double meaning. And so here he is singing about we're going to rise up, we've risen up out of the ashes, or something like that. And I'm going, it just in the world today, there's just so much beast everywhere. I wouldn't say that. But that's what the phoenix represents, all right? There's another picture of it again. Now, let me show you this graphic. This is very graphic, all right? So get ready to close your eyes. This is a very, very graphic image, okay? This is a picture of the United States of America, okay? I used to think it looked like when I was a kid, I used to think it looked like a headless chicken carcass. Okay, you know how the little neck sticks up and you've plucked all the feathers off of it, and you just have this chicken, this whole chicken you'd buy at the supermarket. That's what I used to think it looked like. That was kind of silly, wasn't it? Okay. This is a graphic. The red areas are all the areas that voted for Mitt Romney. Well, let me say this differently. The red areas are all the areas that voted against Barack Obama. There. The blue, the very small blue areas are the areas that voted for Barack Hussein. There's a lot of red here. I mean, there's just a lot. But in all fairness, the population centers of this country are in the extreme left coast, California, Oregon, Washington, and over on the east coast, New England especially, Boston, places in Virginia, and so on. And then southern Florida, where you have a lot of non-American citizens living in southern Florida. This is what you have. Also notice the bottom of Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and Southern California, where you have a lot of non-American citizens living there. Now, was the election rigged? I don't have the evidence. I will tell you that in Philadelphia, I remember reading this the other day, waiting for Sweetie Pie to get out of surgery. They were talking about how about 50 some odd precincts in and around the Philadelphia area had 100% returns in favor of Barack Hussein. In other words, every single voter that showed up in 50 some odd precincts, every single one of them voted for Barack Hussein. Not one person in over 50 precincts cast a vote for even a write-in candidate. Yeah. I believe in Santa Claus. I believe that did not happen. I will never believe that it happened. It did not happen. There are reports of locked doors, votes being counted behind locked doors, which is illegal. There are reports of the fact that voting machines, even though this was known even before the election, you vote for Romney, and it comes up Obama for some reason. Why is that? It's a mess. And I want you to think of this. I want you to kind of wrap your head around this for a second, okay? I want you to ask yourself the question, what if it was proven that there was a massive effort to defraud the American people of their constitutionally allowed vote? What if it was shown once again that Barack Hussein is the illegitimate president of the United States? Once again, what if it was shown that? Because I think that it represents an I'm trying to say undercurrent and undertone at the same time. Undercone. It represents an undercone in this country that a majority of the people in this country did not want this man to have another 4 years in office. And if it was even not even proven, if it was just like there's a congressional committee and their finding was that they suspect that massive voter fraud was taking place in precincts and here, there, everywhere, then a majority of Americans are going to go, well, what are we going to do about it? And then Congress will go, well, it doesn't really matter. It's trouble. There's something that's going on in America whose end result is nothing but trouble. End result is nothing but trouble. Now, here's what's really interesting to me, is that this, and several of you sent me this, and I traced it down from Yahoo to something else, all right? And they had this graphic up of the red areas versus the blue areas. Red voted against Barack Hussein, blue voted for Barack Hussein, or according to the official tally. Then they had this graphic right next to it. What they had done is they had altered the shape of the United States of America. And everybody that sent me this, they said, do you see what I see? I see. And I went, way up in the sky, little lamb. And I see it. I mean, I think that we're looking at this. Let me go back. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this again. And then now, really shocking, I'll show you this. Okay? I think so. I think that image was deliberately manufactured to look that way. Why? And let's remember Baphomet. Okay, Baphomet, who does this. Okay, Baphomet, and we did a video on this called Baphomet, the God of Transformation, and this was a few years ago. And I'm down in Arkansas and preaching at these Arkansas people. And I said, I think Barack Hussein Obama, here's what's been said. Deepak Chopra, before the 2008 election, said, Barack Hussein Obama represents the fundamental transformation of America. And I took that seriously. And when I first read this before the election, I said to myself, he will be the next president of the United States. There's no doubt in my mind about it. The fix is in. Because of what he represents. He represents a fundamental, and you have to understand, fundamental means the very foundation of what our thought is, our way of life is, our principles are, our morals. And absolute, what do we see? We're moving from a capitalist society to a socialist society. We're moving from a moral country to an indecent, immoral country. Now, in Barack Hussein's presidency, now we are going to openly embrace and we're going to stiff the American people on sodomite marriage. All the American people who said, we don't believe in that, we don't want it, like the people of the state of Missouri, Barack Hussein is going to lead the charge to say, too bad for you. They're getting married in your church whether you like it or not. That's what he represents. A fundamental shift. a transformation. And so that's what Baphomet is. He is the God of transformation. Now remember, Baphomet has something written on his right arm. It is the word salve, which means dissolve. So we have to dissolve the union so that we can have a new, out of the ashes of the old America is going to rise a new America. I see it. And aside from this graphic, which could be, it's like looking at a Rorschach test. Oh, I think that looks like an ink blob. Okay. Aside from that graphic, which I think it's deliberate, we are looking at the undertones and the undercurrent in this country of the clash of opposites. Now, I want you to think of, let me pull this graphic back up here. If you were to take water paint or oil paint, and you were to take a little red, and you were to take a little blue. Do you remember, what was his name? Bob something another on public television with the frizzy hair? Oh yeah, we're going to take a little yellow ochre. Oh yeah, we're going to create this nice mountain scene. I love that guy. But anyway, if you take a little red and oh yeah, we're going to take a little blue now. Now let's mix them together. Oh, we're going to make the most amazing color of what? Purple. Who wears purple in the Bible? Who wears that? Okay. You say, well, Christ did. And who was Christ depicting when he went to the cross with the crown of thorns on his head and the purple robe? Who was he depicting? Okay. What woman wears purple and scarlet? What woman does that? Think about that. So you get the two groups to clash. Where is somebody sent this? Joe said it all makes sense now. Gay marriage was legalized on the same day as marijuana. And on the same day that Barack Hussein was reelected, you approved gay marriage in 2 states and legal marijuana in 2 states, and Monsanto wins so we can keep genetically modifying everybody. What else have... I mean, just think of what's going on. There is... Where is the article? I had it. Where is it? Where is it? The article about secession. As of last night, 250,000 people had pulled up to the White House website and filled out an NSA dossier questionnaire saying, I think I want to secede from the Union. And they were filling that out because the NSA wanted to know who was and who wasn't. Now, Glenn Beck had an article. He's going nuts over this thing. And really, it's understandable because there's something wrong with Glenn Beck. He's a Mormon, guys. Okay? Glenn Beck is, he said, how dumb do you have to be, really? You're putting your name on a list that goes directly to the White House, and you're putting your name on a list saying, yeah, I think we should secede. I think there should be a civil war. And he's saying, don't do that. You should fear them. No. Not so, my friend Glenn. Not so. Because I think like John Hancock thinks. And I mentioned this last night in the church service. I think John Hancock, on the Declaration of Independence, when you look at the Declaration, you can see it from 25 feet away. His name. Because somebody said, hey, come here. And he says, what? And they said, put your John Hancock right here. So he did. John Hancock. And he made it as big